there is something I want to sit with you about. Something that's been stirring in the silence between the noise of your day. Not because anything is wrong, but because something is deeply, undeniably right. And maybe you have felt it, that strange hum beneath the surface. That sense that you have been waiting for a signal you couldn't quite name. You didn't find this message by accident. Heaven literally redirected your path to this exact moment. I know that sounds like a lot to claim in the first breath. But let's just sit with it for a second. Feel what's happening in your chest. Not the anxiety of the day, not the list of things you still have to do, but the quiet, the soften, the way your shoulders want to drop just a fraction of an inch. It's not imagination. That's recognition. You've probably spent a lot of your life feeling like you were broadcasting on a frequency nobody else could hear. Like you were walking through a crowded room, but the only voice you could truly listen to was the one inside your own head, the one that whispered, "There is more. This isn't it. I'm not crazy." There is a specific reason why you feel different from everyone else. It's because your soul carries a signature they cannot decode. It's not arrogance. It's just a fact. You have been operating on a bandwidth that the world has tried to convince you is a glitch. But it's not a glitch. It's the main event. And I think if you're really honest with yourself, you have known this for a while. You've been hiding your light for far too long, thinking it was a weakness. But heaven says it's not a weakness. It is your greatest weapon. You dimmed it down so you could fit into conversations that bored you, into jobs that drained you, into relationships that ask you to be a smaller, quieter, more digestible version of who you actually are. But something ancient inside you is done with that. It's done with the shrinking. And the reason you are here, the reason you didn't scroll past, is because that ancient part of you just stood up and took the wheel. If you have felt a strange pull in your spirit lately, that's the divine signal that your waiting period is officially over. You know the pull I'm talking about. It's not a loud, desperate tug. It's more like gravity, a gentle, undeniable weight that keeps bringing you back to the same thought. I'm ready. Whatever is next, I'm ready for it. This isn't a video about manifesting in the way the world has cheapened the word. This is about receiving. It's about understanding that you are not just a person watching a screen. You are a high-ranking spiritual being currently undercover in a human experience. And the assignment just shifted, just changed. Let's get real about what that assignment has looked like up until now. Because it hasn't looked like winning the lottery or floating on a cloud. It's looked like pressure. It's looked like being the one person in the room who saw the truth when everyone else is or was comfortable with the lie. It's looked like the spiritual solitude. The universe has been watching your silence, your tears, and your resilience, and it has finally decided to move on your behalf. It's not that the divine wasn't moving before. It's that you were in a training process, and you don't get applause during a training process. You just get sweat and sore muscles and the quiet voice in your head asking if you can do one more rep. And you did. You kept doing one more rep. Here is what's actually happening right now, in this exact breath. A massive timeline shift is happening, and you are being catapulted into a version of reality you once only dreamed of. It's not a future event, it is a present recalibration. You can almost feel the gears on the universe grinding and clinking into a new position. And it's a little disorienting, isn't it? Your body is physically reacting to these high frequency downloads. And that glow people are noticing is your soul finally taking the lead. Maybe you have been more tired than usual, or maybe you have had this strange electric energy at 3 a.m. that makes no logical sense. That's the old software being uninstalled. You're not breaking down, you're breaking through. And because you are shifting the scenery around you, the scenery around you has to shift too. You might be noticing it in small ways. An old friendship suddenly feels like sandpaper. A door you were desperately trying to hold open just slammed shut into your face. Don't panic. Don't panic. Heaven is closing doors that you were too kind to lock yourself, making room for the great arrival of your true destiny. And you have a habit of staying in rooms where the conversation ended years ago, just to be polite. Heaven isn't polite. Heaven isn't polite. Heaven is efficient. And heaven knows that you cannot step into the magnitude of what's coming for you while you are still clinging to the doorknob of what's living. You have graduated from the testing phase, and now you are entering the manifestation phase, where things happen with zero effort. I need you to hear that part clearly, because your mind is going to fight it. Zero effort. Your brain is screaming. But I've had to claw and fight and struggle for every single good thing. Exactly. That was the test. To see if you would keep showing up. To see if you would keep choosing integrity even when it cost you. To see if you would be the kind of soul who could handle the weight of effortless blessing without becoming lazy or entitled. And you passed. You passed. There is a freedom in realizing that you don't need their permission anymore. Stop looking for permission from people who don't even understand their own purpose. Yeah. You were chosen by the Creator, not a committee. You have been waiting for a thumbs up from people who can't even see the board you're playing on. They're playing checkers, wondering why you keep moving diagonally. You're playing something else entirely. And the heaven see that and saw that. And the heavy weight you've been carrying is being replaced by a divine authority that will make even your enemies pause in respect. This isn't about being feared. It's about being so undeniably aligned that the static around you just quiets. Yeah, just quiets. I want to speak to a very specific kind of pain you might be carrying. The pain of the near miss. The betrayal that almost took you out. There was a spiritual trap set for you, but heaven stepped in the last microsecond to ensure you remained untouched. You might be looking back at the situation thinking, how did I survive that? I should have been broken. I should have given up. You didn't survive it because you are lucky. You survived it because you have a no-fly zone over your destiny. You are under a divine protection that the enemy can't breach. They can circle in the airport, but they can't land. And for those who tried to dim your light, those who whispered, who plotted, who smiled while they slid the knife in, They are currently in shock because the more they whispered, the brighter you became. It's like they were trying to pull out a fire with gasoline. Every act of malice was actually an act of service to your growth. It strengthened your legs. It clarified your voice. And now heaven is currently auditing the karmic debts owed to you for every time you were misunderstood while doing the right thing. The silence you have maintained during the attacks was your loudest prayer, and the answer is arriving in a shocking way. You don't need to lift a finger for revenge. That's not your department. Your only job is to keep shining. The light itself is the correction. So keep shining. But here is the part nobody talks about. This kind of power, this kind of frequency, it's not just given to anyone who asks. It's not a body favor. It requires a certain kind of vessel. It requires someone who has been through the fire and come out with their heart not just intact, but softer. Think about it. In a world that tells you to harden up, you got softer. That's the alchemy. That's the sign that you are ready. You might have been in a season of isolation, a winter of the soul. Maybe it was physical, being single, working alone, feeling like you were in a soundproof booth while life happened to everyone else. Or maybe it was just internal, a quieter place where you pulled back from the noise to hear yourself think. Your period of isolation wasn't a punishment. It was a deep cleansing ritual to prepare you for a high status partnership, whether that's a person, project, or a purpose. You couldn't have received it in your old state. You would have dropped it. You would have fumbled the blessing. You needed to be empty enough to hold something new, because you are a starseed with a mission that goes far beyond earthly trivialities. You are here to anchor the light for the entire collective. That sounds grand, I know, but it doesn't feel grand when you're doing it. It feels like being kind to them, being kind of to the cashier when you are exhausted. It feels like holding your tongue when you want to scream. It feels like waking up to and choosing hope on a day when the news is nothing but darkness. That's anchoring the light. And heaven has chosen you have chosen you to break the generational chains that have kept you bloodline, your bloodline in a circle of lack centuries. You are the one who said, it stops with me. And you meant it. Not just the financial lack, but the lack of love, the lack of peace, the lack of self-worth. You are the circuit breaker. You've been a hidden gem. But the divine is about to put you on a stage where your wisdom will be the main event. And I know a part of you is scared of that. Visibility comes with a cost. But remember, you don't need to fight for a seat at the table anymore. God is building an entire new table specifically for you. You won't have to elbow anyone out of the way. You won't have to prove your credentials. The invitation has your name on it. You are the prize in every room you enter, and it's time you started carrying yourself with that royal confidence. Not the confidence of arrogance, but the quiet confidence of someone who knows whose they are. Let's talk about the fear for a second, because I know it's there. The fear that this is all just words, the fear that you are fooling yourself, the fear that you will feel this fire in your belly for 24 hours and then it will fade and you will be back to the same old patterns, the same old doubts, the same old 3 a.m. dread. That's the ego's last stand. It's going to whisper, maybe later. Let's think about it. Let's get more proof. But that's a trap. Yeah. Procrastination disguised as caution. And here is the truth about moments like this. They are portals. They are thresholds. And they don't stay open forever. The energy is moving. The wave is cresting. You can either catch it or watch it roll toward the shore without you. You have done the later before. We all have. You know that hollow feeling of looking back and thinking, I was so close. I was right there. This is not the time. Because the version of you that hesitated, that played small, that needed everyone to like you before you could like yourself, that version is already dissolving. And the version rising to take its place is unlimited, sovereign, and finally free. Yeah, free. Every rejection you faced was actually a divine redirection away from something that would have eventually poisoned your spirit. The job you didn't get, the person who walked away, the opportunity that evaporated. It wasn't no. It was not that. better is coming. Can you feel that? The way that lands in your stomach, not as a wish, but as a knowing. Yeah, as a knowing. So, here we are at the edge of something, the space between who you've been and who you are becoming. And I want to give you something simple to hold on to. A truth that doesn't require a PhD in theology or a decade of meditation to understand. Just this. You are the one heaven has been waiting for. Not waiting for you to be perfect. Waiting for you to be present. Waiting for you to stop hiding. Waiting for you to trust the resonance you feel right now. Because that resonance, the deep, vibrating yes in your bones, that is the Creator's signature inside your DNA. Yeah, it's not a coincidence. It's a confirmation. As you move forward from this moment, let this be the anchor. When the doubt comes, and it will visit, it's an old habit. You return to the body. You feel your feet. You take a breath. And you remember, I am ready. I am chosen. I am not alone. The world is finally ready to see the real, unedited version of you. The one who doesn't have to perform. The one who has scars but isn't defined by them. Isn't defined by them. The one who can hold space for others because they have learned to hold space for themselves. You were born for such a time as this. And as we close the space between us, I want you to do something. Not for me, no, for you. Take a full breath in, deeper than usual. And as you let it go of the need to know exactly how it will work out. Just let it be. Heaven didn't just choose you to survive. It chose you to lead, to heal, and to conquer. And in this quiet, right now, you can feel the atmosphere changing in your favor. Let it be so. Welcome to the new chapter. Welcome home. Yeah, welcome home.